Hi, I'm Kaylee, and today I'm going to be ranking the sidekicks and secondary characters in Jane Austen's main novels. I have an extremely lengthy list of sidekicks and secondary characters, and we're going to be ranking them according to my favorites and my least favorites. I don't know how I'm going to get through this video because there's like 30, 35 something sidekicks and secondary characters. So this is going to be a very long video. Oh boy, I'm really going to try to keep it concise. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel and give this video a big thumbs up if you love Jane Austen. All right, so we're going to start with the ladies. I have 20 female sidekicks and secondary characters. And we're going to start way down at the bottom. I think probably my least favorite secondary character is Lady Bertram from Mansfield Park. She is constantly described as being indolent. She's just so lazy. She just doesn't care. It doesn't matter what the subject is. She's just like, sure, whatever. I can't even understand how someone can actually be that lazy. Number 19 is Kitty Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. I feel like there's not much character there. She just kind of follows along with Lydia. She wants to flirt with officers. She's just kind of silly and in the background. Number 18 is Mrs. Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. She really gets on my nerves. She's always complaining. She's really dumb. She's so socially awkward. She's always saying the wrong thing and embarrassing her daughters. What really bothers me though is how she pretends to be ill in order to get attention. Oh, that's just mean. Number 17 is Miss Bates from Emma. I'm sure Miss Bates is a very dear, sweet, good, kindly person, but she is so annoying. I swear, half the book of Emma is just Miss Bates droning on and on and on. She just won't stop talking. Number 16 is Anne de Bourgh from Pride and Prejudice. Anne is just sort of in the background. She doesn't really have any dialogue. Most of what we hear about her is from her mother, Lady Catherine, saying, "Oh, Anne would have been a great proficient on the pianoforte if only she had learnt, if only her health had permitted." Anne is just kind of pale and boring in the background. Number 15 is Henrietta Musgrove from Persuasion. Henrietta just sort of flirts with everybody and she just gets in the way. Both Henrietta and her sister, it seems like, are just, I don't know, they're just sort of silly and flirty and not very interesting. Number 14 is Mrs. Jennings from Sense and Sensibility. Mrs. Jennings is just kind of over the top. She's always teasing the girls about their supposed beaus, their suitors. She basically lives to gossip. And that's all there is to say about Mrs. Jennings. She is a gossip machine. Number 13 is Mary Musgrove from Persuasion. This is Anne Elliot's sister, and she's always pretending like she's ill, trying to get people's attention. She's really selfish. She's just very negative. She's always complaining. Nothing's ever good enough. She's always ready to take offense. No matter what you did or said, you're just not free to say or do anything because she is sure to get offended at whatever you did or didn't do. Number 12 is Lady Russell from Persuasion. Lady Russell is a close friend, almost like a mother figure to Anne Elliot. And she is the one who persuades Anne to break off her engagement with Captain Wentworth. I feel like Lady Russell isn't a bad person. She just made an error in judgment and gave bad advice. She really does care about Anne, and she didn't do it out of any maliciousness. She really thought she was giving the best advice that would bring Anne happiness. So I feel like she's just kind of in the middle of this list. She's not really bad and she's not really good. She's just kind of in the middle. She is a good person who gave some bad advice. Number 11 is Mary Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. I really feel sorry for Mary. I feel like she really tries. You know, she's a good person and she has integrity, which her younger sisters do not. She's serious-minded. She loves to learn. She really cares about being able to sing and play well, which was important for young ladies back then. But it's like she just tries too hard and it makes her socially awkward And then she doesn't know how to be charming like her older sisters. Mary, poor Mary, she really is just stuck in the middle. I really feel sorry for Mary. Number 10 is Jane Fairfax from Emma. I feel sorry for Jane as well. She's stuck in a really difficult situation where she has this secret engagement, but she can't tell anybody about it, but it causes her a lot of social awkwardness where really she's in emotional pain because she sees the way her fiance is acting, and that's not good. He's not acting very good. And poor Jane, she just suffers in silence. She is so compassionate and kind and patient with her relatives, the Bateses. She really is very sweet and generous. But I feel like all of this emotional turmoil that she's in, that she has internally, she's just holding it in so much that it makes her not be all sparkling and charming at parties like Emma is, you know? What can I say about Miss Fairfax? She's very elegant. Number 9 is Georgiana Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. We don't get to see a lot from Georgiana, but what we do see is she's just a very sweet, innocent, kind young girl. I really wish that she had more like screen time in the book, that we got to see a little more development in her character. But she seems to have just a very open, kind, welcoming personality. Number 8 is Margaret Dashwood from Sense and Sensibility. She is the little sister who's still a child. She's not out in society yet. So she's kind of in the background of the story, but she seems like a very happy, curious, interesting little girl. I really like that Margaret brings some humor and some lightness to what otherwise might be a little too dark of a story. Number 7 is Sophia Croft Wentworth from Persuasion. Sophia Croft is Admiral Croft's wife and Frederick Wentworth's sister. So she is very material in bringing Captain Wentworth and Anne Elliot together. I really like her friendly personality. She's just very welcoming and kind and ready to just, I don't know, I feel like she just wants to hug everybody. She has kind of a motherly outlook to people. She just wants to protect them and make sure they're okay. You know, she has that hostess personality. Even when she's a guest at someone else's house, she's always kind of looking out to see, are other people okay? Is there anything I can do to help? Number 6 is Susan Price from Mansfield Park. This is Fanny Price's younger sister. She's very dissatisfied with her circumstances, with her poor and uneducated family, and she wishes that she could be more educated and a little more refined and have better manners the way that her older sister Fanny does. I really love the way that Fanny just takes Susan under her wing, and Susan wants to learn. Susan is eager to become more educated and to better herself. She has a very sweet personality. Number 5 is Mrs. Dashwood from Sense and Sensibility. This is Marianne and Eleanor and Margaret's mother. I really love Mrs. Dashwood. She is just so kind and compassionate and so supportive and encouraging of her daughters. She's not very sensible when it comes to money matters. She kind of leaves the budget up to Eleanor, but she is the one who creates a warm and happy home for her daughters. There's just such an atmosphere of comfort and warmth all around Mrs. Dashwood. Number 4 is Harriet Smith from Emma. Harriet is adorable. She is just so adorable. She is utterly clueless. She's kind of like a lost soul in some ways. She's sort of thrust into this higher sphere of society than she is used to, and she's a little bit overwhelmed, but she's very grateful. She's so friendly and sweet. There's just something so charming about Harriet. Number 3 is Charlotte Lucas from Pride and Prejudice. Charlotte actually, I think, has a little too much common sense for her own good. A lot of people think Charlotte is foolish to accept Mr. Collins's proposal, but I think really in her own way, she's very wise. This was her way of taking control of her own life. And certainly she knows what she can handle and what is going to annoy her too much. And I think she does a very good job of ordering her life in such a way that she is content and she is happy with the choices that she's made. I think that Charlotte Lucas is the perfect sidekick for Elizabeth Bennet. They're both very intelligent, they're both charming, they are certainly not lacking in social skills. I think Charlotte doesn't get enough credit. She's really an incredible person. Number 2 is Eleanor Tilney from Northanger Abbey. I think that Eleanor Tilney in many ways is almost a little bit of a mystery. I mean, her mother died when she was very young. She grew up with this tyrannical, overbearing father. She has kind of a serious personality. She's polite, almost to the point of being a little bit boring. But in many ways, she is the opposite of her young friend, Catherine. Eleanor has had to grow up and become the mistress of a household and take on adult responsibilities at a much younger age than Catherine. She's more mature and reasonable and has common sense. And that makes her the perfect best friend for Catherine. And my number one favorite sidekick is Anne Taylor Weston from Emma. Miss Taylor was Emma's governess, and then when Emma grew too old to have a governess, Miss Taylor married Mr. Weston. Emma is another character who lost her mother at a very young age, and so Miss Taylor became like a mother figure towards Emma. And then as Emma has grown up, they've become more just close friends rather than so much of a mother-daughter type relationship. And yet there is still that feeling of a motherly feeling on Mrs. Weston's part toward Emma. When Emma is freaking out about something, the person she goes to is Mrs. Weston. And she's always sure to find support and encouragement, but also good advice and wisdom. Mrs. Weston is just such a steady rock, just such a reliable person in Emma's world. We should all be so lucky to have a friend like Mrs. Weston. And those are my favorite female supporting characters. Now we're gonna go over to the male sidekicks and supporting characters. So on the gentleman's list, I only have 11. There were 20 women on the secondary characters list, but I only have 11 that seem to stand out to me as being worthy of being on my sidekicks list for the men. I don't know if that just shows that Jane Austen focused so much on women in her books, or if it's just that I just don't notice the guys that much. I don't know. Down at the bottom of this list, number 11, is Thomas Bertram from Mansfield Park. I almost put him in the villains list. He's really not that good of a guy. However, he does have a bit of character development and he becomes a better person towards the end of the book. So I'm just gonna put Thomas Bertram at the bottom of the sidekicks list. If anything, Thomas Bertram being such a jerk definitely makes his brother Edmund Bertram seem like a saint in comparison. Number 10 is Mr. Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. Now I do like Mr. Bennet. I like that he's intelligent, he's educated, but he doesn't really take care of his family like he should. His daughters are mostly uneducated. He does not curb Lydia's bad behavior. He doesn't really take an interest like he should in leading his family and guiding his children. It's kind of a disappointment because I like Mr. Bennet, but he's just not a very good father. Number 9 is Sir Thomas Bertram from Mansfield Park. In many ways, Mr. Bennet is a better man than Sir Thomas Bertram, but I feel like Sir Thomas is maybe a little bit of a better father. Well, they're both terrible fathers, I don't know. Sir Thomas at least takes an interest and tries to curb the bad behavior of his children, but he does it in such a tyrannical way. Instead of appealing to their heart and instead of encouraging and supporting them in good things, all he does is just punish them for the bad things. And so he ends up being just as bad of a father as Mr. Bennet. Even though he's trying to be involved, he's just not doing it in the right way. Number 8 is Sir John Middleton from Sense and Sensibility. Sir John Middleton rents out Barton Cottage to the Dashwood family. He's very friendly and welcoming and loves to sit around and gossip with his neighbors. He's wonderfully generous and really just takes an interest in people. He's good-hearted and good-natured and good company. But there's not much depth to him. He's not a complex or an interesting person, really. He's just good and friendly. Number 7 is Charles Musgrove from Persuasion. This is Anne Elliot's brother-in-law. I feel like Charles could be a really good man, but the influence of his wife, it just kind of makes them all sort of quarrelsome and they're just always complaining and everything. I feel like if he had a better influence at home, then he might be a better person. Almost kind of wish he had married Anne. So I do like Charles, but I feel like he could be better. Number 6 is William Price from Mansfield Park. William is Fanny's brother, and he's a midshipman in the Navy. He's brave and loyal and true. He's really everything a hero should be. He loves his sisters. He dotes on his sisters. He's the perfect gentleman. He's generous and kind. He does everything that he can to make sure that his sisters are comfortable. And you know what's the thing I love most about William? Is he remembers to write to his sisters. What a brother. What a sweet guy. Number 5 is Admiral Croft from Persuasion. It is a pity that Admiral and Mrs. Croft do not have any children, because they would make wonderful parents. Admiral Croft is boisterous and fun. He's kind and welcoming. He's just so friendly. He's always on the lookout for how he can do a favor for somebody or just do somebody a good turn. It's no wonder that he and Mrs. Croft are so happy. They're just both delightful people. Number 4 is Colonel Fitzwilliam from Pride and Prejudice. Colonel Fitzwilliam is kind of the opposite of George Wickham. So we're hearing very different accounts about Mr. Darcy from these two other people. And Elizabeth hears all the bad things about Mr. Darcy from George Wickham, but then his cousin, Colonel Fitzwilliam, comes in and tells her all about the good and generous and wonderful things that Mr. Darcy has done. So in that way, he fulfills a very important plot point, but also he's just very gentlemanly. He's courteous and thoughtful. I almost wish there was like The Adventures of Fitzwilliam and Darcy. Like the two of them are just best friends, cousins forever. I can just imagine them having all sorts of fun, boyish adventures when they were kids. Number 3 is Mr. Woodhouse from Emma. This is Emma's father. Everybody laughs at him for being querulous and complaining of a draft and, you know, being very silly about diets and health and things like that. And although he may not be Emma's intellectual equal, and he may not be able to give her the kind of wisdom and guidance that she needs from like Mrs. Weston, he really loves his children. He loves his grandchildren. There's just something so affectionate and just so loving in the Woodhouse household. And that's because Mr. Woodhouse, he sets the tone. Emma and her sister and all those little grandchildren will grow up knowing that they are accepted and loved. Number 2 is Robert Martin, also from Emma. Robert Martin, what a sweet guy. He's hardworking. He really tries to educate himself. He cares about learning. He's incredibly intelligent. He's passionate and loving and sweet. He's kind to his sisters and takes care of his mother. He's just an all-around good guy. And my number 1 favorite sidekick is Mr. Weston, also from Emma. Mr. Weston, what can I say? He is so kind, so welcoming, and friendly. He just wants everybody to have a good time. He's the perfect host. He just wants everyone to feel welcome. And I love that once he and Mrs. Weston are married, he takes on this kind of paternal role for Emma. He really cares about her because Mrs. Weston cares about her. He's just such a sweet, compassionate person. I just love Mr. Weston. He's so adorable. All right, those are the, 31 sidekicks and secondary supporting characters in Jane Austen. That was a lot. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know who is your favorite sidekick character in Jane Austen's novels and why are they your favorite? And of course, be on the lookout for other videos ranking the heroes, the heroines, the villains, and the villainesses in Jane Austen's books. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and remember the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.